Welcome to my parlor. Welcome, traveler, to the Hidden Corner Finds. I am Joanne, and this is my humble store. Pull up a chair, stay a while, make yourself at home. What? Oh, you want to know what I'm selling? Everything and anything. In short, I have a passion for why did it just bleep me? All I said was I have a passion for picking, I said. Yeesh. You can't say anything on YouTube these days without this censorship. Anyways, as I was saying, I have a passion for picking. For me, there is nothing more satisfying than finding a unique and forgotten item and uniting it with someone who will really appreciate it for years to come. Whether it's a soapstone carving, an old book, or simply a mug to make you laugh, I try and find something for everyone. My goal is to make you a confident buyer. Older items often have a lifetime of stories to tell. I strive to describe the good as well as the bumps and bruises they've experienced along the way. It's important that the pictures reflect what you will receive. To that end, I always encourage questions and will do my best to respond as quick as possible. Appreciate you stopping by the store. If you can't find what you're looking for, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm always looking for new ideas and will keep an eye out for your item in my travels.
God damn it! Honey, what the f*** happened to my action figure collection?
Whoops, gotta go. Bye.
Well, hello. Welcome back. Mutant Monday with Johnny Tiger on December 16, 2024. Yeah, this got to be the first time. I don't think I've ever done two toy reviews, full-size toy reviews in a row. And there's a reason for that. Like I mentioned, in a couple of days, I'm going on vacation. The show is going off the air, and it's going to be 2 months without doing action figure reviews. And honestly, the other stuff I do, like martial arts and music and history, like talking about history, a lot of that I can still sort of do and play with while I'm on vacation. But while I'm on vacation, it's basically guaranteed I will not get a chance to sit down and geek out with action figures. So, like, almost no interaction with action figures for 2 months. That's like a heroin addict getting a cold turkey withdrawal. So I thought, what the heck, before I go on vacation, I'm going to just crank out a few more action figure review and spend some action figure geek time if I can. So if I get a time to do video tomorrow, we'll do another action figure video tomorrow. So anyway, without further ado, today we are looking at this backdrop. This is actually the backdrop from the box that the figures. Yes, I did say figures. We have two figures we're looking at today, and this is the backdrop in the back of the box. I found the box the other day when I was cleaning my room. I've had these figures for a couple of years now, so obviously they are not in their box anymore, but the box is still in good shape. And so I decided to grab the box and took some photos and do a review on these guys. I believe this backdrop is supposed to be the Technodrome, like the base for Shredder and Krang in the Ninja Turtle series. Although I'm not certain, you guys can correct me in the comment section if you know. But according to what AI tells me, it's some kind of techno robotic construction inside a cave. So I'm guessing that is the Technodrome. So uh, no surprise then that we are going to be looking at a couple of bad guys from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We are going to be looking at the Antrax and Scumbug 2-pack from Ninja Turtle made by NECA back in, was it 2020 or 2021? Yeah, I think it was 2021 when I got these. So anyway, let's look at some initial box and accessory photos, and then we'll come back now and we'll talk about who is Scumbug and who is Antrax? I got this set way back in I think 2021, so you'll excuse me if the figures are already out of the box. Luckily, I was able to find the original box to add to this review so you guys can take a look. It is a really large box, and inside we have two figures, Scumbug and Antrax. Antrax is actually quite a large figure, and both of them come with a healthy spread of accessories, including four weapons for Antrax, three cockroaches, and a sprayer gun, and some other remote thingy device, and a electro net device for Scumbug. So yeah, they kind of were loaded down with accessories, and it's kind of an expensive set too. Now, normally when go and get Ninja Turtle action figures, usually I get the guys that have uh, nostalgia values. For example, when I get Slash and Super Shredder, those are the guys, and the four turtles, of course, the Splinter. Those are the guys that I remember from my childhood, and getting them in my hand, it's almost like that time machine. And even when they're not that good, I'm not saying that they are not good. I'm saying even when they are not as good as I thought they would be, uh, they are still really awesome because of that childhood connection. Now, these two guys don't get that break. Okay, Anthrax and Scumbug. I do not remember them from the cartoon, even though they are from the cartoon. I do not remember them from the action figures. I don't know were they ever released as action figures, but if they were, I missed them. I did not have these guys when I was a child. So these guys, I got them because I just simply love uh, weird mutated creatures, and when especially when it's something like bugs, I didn't I didn't realize until I was trying to plan for this video that there's really not that many insects or bug monsters out there in the action figure world. Uh, Again, like I'm not counting the actual bugs like spiders and scorpions from like the Eldrador line or the Lord of the Rings as a giant spider. I'm not counting those because those are clearly what they are supposed to be. They're bugs. They're the spiders. They're creepy crawlies. And I'm not counting like Ant-Man and Wasp from Marvel because those are just guys in costumes. But if you want to like look around and see, okay, which creature, which monsters like mutants do I have that is based on an insect or a bug or a spider? There's not many of them. And I was actually surprised. I was at the beginning of the video, I was thinking this is going to be easy. There got to be a lot of these guys, a bug and creepy crawly themed mutants and stuff. And I couldn't find any other than those two. So when I bought these guys, I was basically buying them because they're cool. Okay, because bug people, bug creatures, it's horrifying and cool at the same time. And I am happy to say that I'm not disappointed. Yes, the price was a little bit high, and this said, I think I paid like $90 for them, for both of them together. But they are really, really cool. Let's take them one at a time, and we'll look at their backstory and learn a little bit about them. First, we'll start with this little guy, Scumbug. Um, Scumbug was an exterminator. So apparently, apparently Shredder had a cockroach infestation in the Technodrome, and he hired a exterminator to come in to get rid of the roaches. And while he was doing his job, this exterminator got exposed to the mutagen, which turned him into a mutant and turned him into whatever creature he was last in contact with, which just happened were roaches. And so he got turned into this horrifying looking roach dude. He's mostly yellow and blue, I believe, and got quite a bit of gadget on him. I'm guessing these were the chemicals that he was using to kill the roaches. I don't know. I don't know much about his weapons and why he got those weapons and stuff like that. But just based on the design itself, this guy is quite horrific and cool. We'll talk a little bit more about what I think of the design after we come back, after we look at the articulation and stuff like that. But that's basically the backstory. Now, one thing that never made sense to me was that backstory is if he went to work for Shredder and then he got turned into this thing, shouldn't he be fighting for the good guy? Shouldn't he be mad at Shredder? Like, why is he fighting on the side of evil? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Some people say, well, yeah, but if you get turned into something like this, you would probably lose your mind and go evil. That's not true. I mean, you look at guys like Ray Fillet, and you look at guys like Mugman. I mean, Mugman, it's just horrendous what happened to him. But both of them still fight for the good guys. Both of them don't still are more heroic than not. So why is it that this guy uh, went and fight for the side of evil, even though it was Shredder's fault that he got exposed to mutagen in the first place? I don't know. Maybe some of you who know more about the story can tell me. And sorry about how shaky the table is because the uh, the flooring is this mat, soft mat, in my training room, so the table kind of wobbles a little bit whenever I touch it. So now that we look at Scumbug, let's look at his packmate, the much bigger, much weirder in some way, Antrax. Standing almost 7 inches tall, this gigantic, weird bug thing is called Antrax. And Antrax is actually not a mutant. Antrax is an alien. He's an executioner from Dimension X. So Krang, after suffering defeat at the hands of the turtles a few times, opened up the gateway to Dimension X and tried to import a bunch of monsters and guys that would come and fight for him. And one of the guys that got brought through the portal was Antrax. And Antrax is basically an alien ant uh, dressed like a gladiator or executioner. Honestly, originally I was thinking that this guy would even be kind of cool on a medieval fantasy shelf, but no, he's a little bit too cartoony. Like the design, the way he's portrayed, he's a little bit too animated looking, too cartoony to fit in with like Witcher or Mythic Legions or stuff like that. If he was made in a more realistic uh, portrayal, then I can see that this would be a pretty cool monster to add to your medieval fantasy shelf. Uh, he has a really interesting body construction. He has four arms and his body is like two bodies together. Like he's clearly not a human underneath all that. It's like an ant that is a monstrous and alien and uh, like to cut people up. And he has all the tools that he needs for that. He has a giant double-headed axe. He has a dagger he can sheath at his belt. He has a small sword with spiked knuckle, and he has a big spiked club that he can bash people with. So he's loaded with weapons, and he also got a thing for skull. He has some skull motif on his armor, and he got some skull motif on his weapons, such as over here at the excuse the hand, on the axe, on the tip of the axe, there's a skull there. We see that uh, he's pretty well articulated. Actually, his body, his head, the up and down range is great. His torso, the forward and back range is pretty good. And even this, how would you even call that? That his tail, that his butt. I know on an ant that would actually be like their stomach, belly area, I guess. I don't know. So he has like articulation points where other figures don't have articulation points, just because he's designed that way. Uh, so yeah, he's big. He's loaded with weapons. He got some unconventional body shape and articulation, and that is Antrax. Before we talk more about these figures, let's look at some photos of articulation, poses, and close-ups and stuff like that, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit more about them. Just by the virtue of his design, Antrax wins in the articulation department because he has four arms and a really weird body shape that give him a few extra joints. He also has articulated antennae on his head and mandibles on his mouth, and he has some really wonky, weird, fun upper thorax uh, articulation between his chest and his abdomen. Even his butt is articulated. One thing I will say about him though, that this guy's hip joints are really loose, so don't be too surprised if he collapses, especially when the weather gets hot. He's not fun to stand. On the other hand, Scumbug is built very much like the Ninja Turtles, even though he's not a turtle, but his body shape is the same as most of the Ninja Turtles, so his articulation are the same, and the limitations are the same as well, with the addition to open and closing mouth, but otherwise it's basically the same as any of the Ninja Turtles. Let's start with Antrax, since we ended on Antrax. Um, I honestly thought that I would like this guy more than Scumbug. Like when I bought this set, I was fully expected to like Antrax more than Scumbug. After all, Antrax is big. Antrax is weirdly shaped, very interesting design, and Antrax has a lot of melee, bladed, sharp weapons, the kind of stuff that I like. And the idea of an alien ant warrior is just cool. But unfortunately, after spending a little bit of time with both of them, I have to tell you guys that I don't like Antrax as much. And unfortunately, a lot of it does come down to articulation, or the limitation of the articulation on Antrax. As I already mentioned, the hip joint is really loose, like especially the side to side motion. If you pose him uh, wrong, or if you don't pose him uh, carefully, the legs will just start slipping to the side and he'll fall down. Also, the material on the leg is this really kind of rubbery and soft and pliable. It's just not very sturdy. Okay, and I have already experienced the legs warping off to the side because of his weight. Also, the wrist joints are very loose, so now I have him hold his axe with two of his four hands, and that works good. It gives a very nice, stable support. But if you hold the axe with just one hand, or if you try to have him hold the club like this, sideways, this will start to droop. Like the joint in the wrist they are not very strong at all. So loose wrist joint, loose hip make posing this guy just kind of a wonky experience to tell you the truth. It's more frustrating than worthwhile. And then on top of that, this head, and this is not NECA's fault, okay, because the head does look like this in the cartoon. At least I was told that it does. This does not look like an ant. I mean, I understand he's like an alien ant, so we got to cut him some slack. But this big nose, this big round head, and the placement of the mandibles, like the mandibles should be in front, like in front of his mouth, not over there where his nostrils would be. So not only that is he articulated a bit strange, he looks kind of strange, and I mean normally that's a good thing. Uh, but he just doesn't really grab me as a cool looking character, or not, at least not as cool as I thought he would be. He actually kind of comes across as a little goofy, if nothing else. Um, Now, we are going to take Antrax to one side, put him off to one side, and we'll bring Scumbug. Now, Scumbug turned out to be the opposite. Originally, I was thinking that I wouldn't really care that much for Scumbug because he's a smaller figure. He doesn't have any cool, sharp bladed things that he can uh, destroy the turtles with. He got this weird like sprayer gun and this weird uh, device, this like little bug zapper device, and then he got this thing on his backpack. This does not attach, by the way. I rigged it up so it can attach to the backpack, but then uh, when you get him out of the box, that piece does not attach. Um, so you have to find a way to have him hold it. And he also comes with these. Let me see if I can manipulate them so you guys can see it. Also come with this three cockroaches. I got them taped to that plastic support just so they don't go missing and get vacuumed up or get eaten by the cat. I like to have him carry them on the backpack like that. Um, so normally, like originally, I didn't think I would like Scumbug as much. Body-wise, he's also constructed basically the same as the Ninja Turtles, so has all the limitations. He doesn't move too good. Uh, Move a little bit like a brick, actually. Although he does have open, closing jaw. Like let me get him closer to the jaw. Can close, open, close and open like that. That's pretty cool. Right? But once I get him in my hand, his design really grew on me because unlike Antrax, who just looked like a goofy alien ant warrior, Scumbug here is clearly a man who is slowly turning into a bug. I mean, we still have the rest of his like uniform, his shirt, his pants, but we can see that his shirt is ripping where the belly is, and you can see his belly spilling out. And it's like this purple flesh, pockmarked with tumors and pustules. It's just grotesque. And then you can see the same thing going on with his hand, his arm. Uh, you see the shirt sleeve there, but then the arm coming out is like covered in warts and got spikes on his arm, right? And his brain is exposed on his head. Like, yeah, ooh, that's like some creepy shit. And then you look at his his foot. He has like one spike that's growing out of his foot that pokes through his boot, and then the other foot, the boot is gone, and you see the like how scaly and warty the skin is, and the toes that turn into like not even like a human toe, human foot anymore. Like this this guy, you don't need to know his backstory. Okay, this guy, the design alone tells a story of a tortured person that's slowly turning into this horrifying bug creature. Um, Again, he's made a little bit cartoon-ish, but I can kind of see something like this being mixed in with your sci-fi horror display, like some scientific experiment gone wrong, some mutant in your Resident Evil display or in your Biohazard display, or even in your Bioshock display. Actually, the way he is with his giant backpack and all these tubes and gadgets, he actually kind of fitting for a Bioshock display. So yeah, I ended up liking this guy way more than Antrax, and that was totally unexpected for me. Not to say that Antrax is not a good figure. Both of these are really good figure. I think NECA did some fantastic work on these. Articulation could be improved and tightened up on Antrax here. Um, but other than that, I think this is a very success pair of insect bug style mutant monster figures. Really, really happy with both of them. Although I do say that I like Scumbug a little bit more than Anthrax. So that's it, folks. Thank you for being here and checking out these two figures with me. We'll look at some size comparison photos and get my final thoughts on them. And hopefully, I'll be back again tomorrow. If not, I will see you guys in 2025. So in this last little bit of photos, we compared these two guys against some of their fellow Ninja Turtle villains, against guys like Chrome Dome and Krang in the Android body. Both of them come out really small, but when standing up against guys like Slash or Rocksteady, then Antrax is pretty good size. Like I mentioned already, Scumbug is basically the same size as the Ninja Turtles, so he's a little bit on the small side, although his backpack make him seem a lot thicker than he would have been without it. In the end, if you can get this set, especially on sale with a good discount, they are so much fun. Uh, at full price, they are a little bit pricey, but still, to me, I would say they are worth the purchase.